As the sun rises to start another day, we can only reflect and imagine how at one time our ancestors had witnessed the same sunrise. Their thoughts would have to be different from ours and only focused on the day-to-day activities, striving to meet their survival needs from whatever was available from the land. They would have had to be skilled and creative in whatever they did in order for them to succeed. Some of the skills they possessed and the tools they created are passed on to this very day. Today's elders still possess that knowledge taught to them by their elders. Now it's our turn to learn these skillful practices or record them and in turn pass them on for our future generations, so they can also experience and enjoy some of the old ways. On August 9th to 13th, 1993, the second annual Elders Gathering was held at Waden Bay on the northwest end of the historic Lac La Ronge. The main purpose of the gathering was to unite northern elders and to record the rich knowledge they possess either through cultural activities, traditional lifestyle, the native languages they used, or through storytelling. The information recorded will then be edited and packaged and made available for educational purposes or other community interests. On the first day, the elders began arriving from many northern communities, including Cumberland House, Denare Beach, Creighton, Deschambault Lake, Pelican Narrows, Sandy Bay, South End, Kiniseo, Black Lake, Stoney Rapdis, Fond du Lac, Wollaston Lake, Uranium City, Loche, Turner Lake, Dillon, Patuanak, Crosse, Buffalo Narrows, Green Lake, Beauval, Pine House, Stanley Mission, Brabant Lake, and Montreal Lake. There were also visitors from other places.
We even have a playground this year.
For the elders to pay for their camp?
Where's the accommodation?
I've got...
Okay, you have a combination over here, at that table there. You go over there and they'll give you a cabin or a tent. Okay?
Did you play the drums last year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going down to the When is your
Well, come on in here.
Many hours of planning and volunteer work is needed to host a gathering such as this one. Everyone attending the gathering gets involved in one way or another, giving a hand when there's help needed. Joe Roberts does his share about checking the fish net every morning, so the elders will have plenty of fish.
What?
Yeah. Usually when you bring a cameraman along to do this, you don't catch anything.
The elders will then have a chance to demonstrate their filleting skills or simply enjoy one of their favorite traditional dishes.
Oh, yes. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
The volunteer cooks always have their hands full, trying to keep up with the demand and everyone well fed.
Amen.
First of all, elders, I'd like to just make a few words and say that how much we appreciate you people coming out. I know you're busy and some of you have to travel a long ways, but we really respect your advice, your knowledge, your wisdom, and your experience. And you want to change the program a little from the way it's set up. Talk to Monica. You did it to us last year, so I think you can do it to us this year again.
Maganda nasko mamantu. Ipisu go kakitaut. Mina piego kitawa pastoya. Tapu magaweda. Sagimiska. Mina kakimon. Maga modaweda nantaweo. Kitada ham medoto timistuin.
Sinne do jano holasia. Don't edran esni sinne. Sinne annisin. Ao de Scotland eru. Kudu host ile Edelian.
Nian ka ituan kinas kumit na wilogi pi mititi gota kapi mama intui. Ngskidi kin kaso chigido steak by bit more type. Abuiti when a mititi ga wido hinaita kiabachomit more type. Makia bet sigasita go motai pitago snake. Steinem lapsen.
I think it's of tremendous importance today to look to the elders for the knowledge and wisdom for the future. The reason for that is fairly simple. When we look to the young people, even persons of my age, we are losing a lot of our Cree and Chippewa heritage, our Dene and Nano heritage. And in many cases, we have seen many changes in the past, and those changes are not recorded. And when we're looking at educational systems today, we want to make sure that this is recorded in our education system.
Many of our cultural and traditional ways are different from one tribe or community to another, even though we are only 100 miles apart. For instance, the Dene people are closely associated with the drum and singing as a way of expressing their traditional ways.
The elder here, Bart, was explaining to us on the use of the drums, how important it is for young people now even to pick up their drums again and to start using it for unification, I guess, of the people, for fun, and also to do things together. As well, Bart was just explaining, like I was saying, the different uses of our drum today. And he says the good thing about it is more and more young people are beginning to utilize and pick up the drum again as a means of entertainment in the communities. More and more hand game competitions are happening in the north now. All it takes is just a bit of time for young people to get together to start using this type of traditional practices again, to get away from other things like alcohol, drugs, some of the, I guess you can say, negative social things which are plaguing the communities today, and the drum and the use of this is a way of bringing people back together again.
To our knowledge, the Woodland Cree around the Churchill River system also used the drum and sang songs. A rattler was used along with the drum in their conjuring ceremonies. The Cree nation in the southern part of the province have a different way of using the drum and singing, and also have dances symbolizing different beliefs. The art of paddle making is still practiced, and the art itself was necessary, as the main way to travel in the summer was by canoe using paddles. Ed Beatty has been making paddles since he was a boy.
This red stuff here, that's a bad thing. That's why I'm trying to get this part off as much as I could, this red thing here. Because that red thing, it's hard. It's very hard when it's dry and very heavy.
He recalls from past experiences what type of tree is best for specific reasons. In this case, he chooses the tamarack, which would be very strong, durable, but quite heavy.
And another thing, the way you get the trees from the area, if you had to pick up 2 trees and you make 8 paddles out of it, it's 2 trees, and they all have this white stuff and straight, grains are straight, and you make sure that you leave it there and tell everybody, don't take it forward, I'll be using it yet.
He says, one area where the father has to pass on the tradition to his sons is the art of paddle making.
Got a family, and one of my youngest boy there, his grandson, his name is Edward Beatty, and we're next week sometime we're going to go to Cumberland, demonstrate. I'll demonstrate how to make a paddle, and now he's going to demonstrate how to set up traps.
One lady who still practices the use of traditional medicines is Betsy McKenzie from Stanley Mission. Long ago, before the Europeans came along and introduced their medicines to our forefathers, our ancestors experimented with different plants and found numerous remedies for different sicknesses.
This looks like let's have that one, Master. There. Thank you.
This is getting to be a regular thing.
No, this is not. I don't think
What
this
about
is the
this
one.
one? I don't think that fits in with that.
Stuffed away. No, it's a little one coming right here. Maybe it's too early. Yeah, it's too early. These are the ones.
One practice that still exists today is whenever a person takes something from the land, it is a custom to give something back in return, or else the plant won't go back in place or won't be as effective when used. One of the most popular medicines still used today is made by grinding several plants such as rat root into powder form and then mixing them together. This medicine is then mixed with a hot drink and taken by the patient.
Would you have any elements? Take a little drink of it.
Some other native craft people from other places use the gathering as an opportune time to give a demonstration of what they have learned from their cultures. John Smosey is a native craft maker from Saskatoon, and he specializes in making neck chokers and other small items such as medallions and earrings.
I had my sisters teach me how to do different kinds of craft work. I had some grandmothers teach me how to make the earrings, the Dreamcatcher earrings. And I make stone necklaces, and that was taught to me by a friend in Florida, and dance roaches, the porcupine quill, and the breastplates. And all these things were taught to me when I was traveling, because people are really happy to show you things if you're interested, you know, because there's not too many people interested in making things nowadays. So when you get home, all you have to do is pick up the supplies and you can start working.
Okay, I did one. Are you going to try one? Do you want to try one? Do you want to try? So you're going to take... Right? Yeah. Follow the pattern.
The black red.
Right.
And then this stuff.
Right.
Black hair.
Right. And it'll be done.
Bonnie Hamilton Trottier grew up on the trap line on the northwest side of Lac La Ronge. Unfortunately, Bonnie is one of the very few young women who has the talent to produce crafts from whatever is available from the land. Here she demonstrates the art of creating designs using porcupine quills.
I became interested in my early 20s, and I took a native cultural arts program in northern Alberta, and that's where I learned how to do quill work and moose hair, caribou hair tufting. And since then, I've been doing quill work, which happens to be my favorite. So I've been doing quill work about 11 years now. During the winter, I usually think of designs, and in the spring, I go out and collect birch bark. I do, for sale, quill work on birch bark, which is framed. And I do sewn quill work just for my family, and it's usually footwear that I do sewn quill work for. I prefer to do quill work because it's an Aboriginal art form that was here long before Europeans arrived, and that's the main reason why I do quill work, because in a way it puts me and my life in perspective, and because I think back to my ancestors. And the reason why I teach classes isn't because I'm an expert, it's because I think quill work should be retained and passed on.
Sally Milne, originally from Stanley Mission, specializes in birch bark biting. Her grandmother had shown her how it was done when she was a little girl. She has been practicing this skill on and off ever since she was young. She has become well known for her work, and she has done numerous demonstrational workshops in schools and at gatherings. Her work is becoming well known, and she sells her artwork throughout the world. Flora Charles from Stanley Mission specializes in making birch bark baskets, and the gathering is an opportune time for her to demonstrate her craft. The twine gill net was another item introduced by the Europeans. Our ancestors quickly learned how to weave their own gill nets using the commercial twine bought in by the traders. Mary Ann Mackay from La Ronge and Mary Bacatla from Dillon demonstrate how this craft is done by using handmade tools. One evening was set aside for elders to watch the entertainment portion of the elders' gathering. Edmund Bell and Edward Beatty provided them with good old fiddling tunes. The young and old had a chance to show off their square dancing techniques. Sam Helkett from Little Red River Reserve gave vocal entertainment with his original song about teaching our children. Storytelling has been around for ages and was commonly used by our forefathers every day as a way of communicating, teaching their children, or talking about the myths and legends told to them by their grandfathers.
I just want to remind you that I was up north, and I know that people were pretty well independent. The old timers, they knew how to hunt, to fish, to trap, and to run behind dog teams for many miles. And they were strong people.
Do something good for your people.
Some elders attend this gathering because they it's the best opportunity for them to tell us about their past experiences and how they feel about today's problems.
Try and do something good. Someone has something to say about it, that you're in some way you're doing the wrong thing. But if they tell us we're doing the wrong thing, why don't they show us the right thing?
Some are here to talk about education, treaty land entitlement and treaty rights, self-government, Indian government, preserving our languages and cultures, and comparing lifestyles to the present day.
The information that I'm sharing with you is about our people and how we lived as the people on the land, how we self-governed ourselves, how we took care of our own affairs. The information that I'm sharing with you is about our culture and how proud we were as a people. The way we lived, even though we didn't have much, we didn't work for money. We worked for our families. We worked to provide for our families. that's the information that I'm telling you about here.
Many organizers, volunteers, and visitors take time to try their hand at doing some of the activities and sampling some of the traditional foods cooked over a fire. One thing that was taught by our elders is that all things must come to an end. It is always sad for most of us to say goodbye to our old and newfound friends, but there is always another time in another place.
I thank you for everything. It's just a lovely place, and everybody, they're happy, they're nice people, a nice service. I love everything. I hope we're going to another year. I don't know. Nobody knows. Just only God knows. I hope in another year we're going to see all together here. It'll be a that's nice here for all the people.
Magam ten nas magam tomina. Magat no ni istotta. Ita ma no wa. Ke wa se. Kaya kinamat ko.
The Indians have power. They still have power, although it is hidden. They're overwhelmed by new things, but the power is still there. And I think that's where the power will come from, is gatherings like this, where people speak to one another.
And because I had no mom, and because I never seen my dad nor my mom, when I see an old woman, I always remember my grandmother all the time. When I see an old woman, I always figure to her that she's my grandmother. When I see an old man, I always think about my dad. So I'm never going to lose the older people, because they are my parents, and I wish to live with them. And my grandmother, before she died, she told me, he says, go to the elders, and that's where I am. And I wish, if by the God's will, one day I hope to come back again, because I want to give other elders a chance too, if they could come in and support us. And I thank each and every one of you, all for your wisdom. Thanks a lot. And I hope you all the luck in the world when you get home, and be safely at home. Thank you very much.